All right. Dave Schultz, Schultzycast, episode 2. Seems we do have a microphone going here. Let me see if I get the YouTube page. We got the chat page up, but it's looking like it wants something different than a different date for me. Let me see here. We are live. Let me see if I can get the share the link, which seems to not want to come up here. So, outstanding. All right. Anybody else having Wi-Fi issues? I feel like my thing is not as fast as it should be. So, it's taking a minute here to load up, and then we'll talk. Let me see here. All right. It does appear, well, it does appear live. All right. Let me see if I get a shareable link, and let me tweet that out. Okay. Let me look what it looks like on YouTube just to make sure we can hear. We may get some feedback. Did spell my name in the episode, right? All right, good. Should set up to where I'm looking at what I want to look at and see your chat. Now, I do appreciate it. We do have, let me see here. Yes, we do. All right. All right. There you go. You may have been able to hear that. Ooh, hold on. Let me plug my computer in. That's going to die on me. All right. Still figuring this as we go. My hat's crooked. I'm not sure if I even know how to wear caps anymore. Okay. So news in the Sun Belt yesterday, a couple things. Also, I said this yesterday in Lockdown Sun Belt. I have a little something. I don't know what it is. I get it at night, a little chills, and I get it in the morning where I am stuffed up a little bit. So it sounds like I smoked a half a pack yesterday. I don't smoke at all. So we are drinking some Diet Green tea. And Tuesdays and Thursdays I do get up to go to Orange Theory. And so we'll be dressed like this on a regular basis. All right. So yesterday in the Sun Belt, Mark Byington decided that it was time for him to... JMU's head coach, he decided to go. He took the Vandy job. At first, I kind of felt like it was just a money grab. Like it was just a chance to make more money because you're not winning at Vanderbilt. You know, you're not going to compete for Final Fours at Vanderbilt, right? That's not a Louisville or a Michigan, although Michigan hasn't done much lately, or has Louisville for that fact of the matter. But they don't have any kind of history whatsoever, although Kevin Stallings had a pretty good program, about 4 coaches ago now. However, though, for Vandy, it can be, and for Vandy got a really good coach, but for Mark Byington, it can be a situation where, well, maybe I stick around here. All right, like Louisville it's impossible to live up to those expectations. If Calipari and Kentucky go separate ways, it's impossible to live up to those expectations. They're like, all right, you won one championship, now you got to win again. Like every year is Final Four or bust. See? And those are some unrealistic expectations, especially what college basketball is now. And so now I think it may be a good idea. This may be, we'll see if it's Mark Byington's job for life. Now, probably he'll make a run in the Sweet 16 in a couple years. Who knows? Maybe he takes Spillers and Absent from App State and brings him into Vandy, and they make a run next year. He gets a big bonus and a raise, but say in 3 or 4 years he gets to the Sweet 16, and then he gets to a bigger, I want to say bigger, but better basketball school, if you will. Or he could just say the expectations are to win on a somewhat regular basis, compete in the SEC, and I got it pretty cushy. Right? No one's expecting me to win a national championship. No one takes a Vanderbilt football job trying to win a national championship. Baseball's different. Baseball, you're trying to win a national championship at Vanderbilt, but not in basketball. Also, Marshall tossed out Dan D'Antoni. They moved their assistant in, Cornelius Jackson. Interesting that it took a month. And so that leads us to this. And trust me when I tell you this. I don't have any idea what's going on with Bob Marlin and the Cajuns. But there is a probably small, but vocal minority that wants Bob Marlin gone. He just won the Sun. We're still in this season, yeah. So last season, and I guess if you don't win the Sun Belt Conference every year, you need to be fired. Jordan Brown transferring, that did not work out for anybody. It didn't work out for Jordan Brown. It didn't work out for Memphis. It didn't work out for the Cajuns. There were some issues with Cajuns basketball. That's clear. When your starting point guard does not finish out the year, that's an issue. There was some selfishness. You could just watch. You don't even have to know what's going on behind the scenes. You could just watch the games and see their selfishness. So this was, excuse me, not the easiest of all seasons for Bob Marlin and the Ragin Cajuns. They did get on a little bit of a streak, but no one came to the games. No one, very few people, right? They were like thrilled at 3,000 for JMU. And that was like the first top 25 team that I've ever seen here, better part of a decade. Top 25 teams don't come to Lafayette to play the Cajuns. And yet, it didn't have a really good crowd, although the Cajuns thought it was a good crowd. That's one of the problems. That's A. And then they were on an 8-game winning streak. They lost the 9th game, something like that, with Georgia State. And not a big crowd for that game. They lost that one, unfortunately. There does seem to be an issue with a certain group of fans, and we all know who they are, and are a big problem with the money people. And I think Bob is kind of caught in the middle because the money people like Bob, and this certain segment of fans don't like the money people. But here's the other issue with, the fandom and calling out, why fans aren't going. Like, it's Bob Marlin's fault that the fans aren't going. I mean, he won last year. He was winning this year. No one's going to the baseball games. Anyone bringing that up? I'll even excuse the 11 a.m. start. They don't come to a 1 p.m. start. Whatever they announced at the baseball games this week, it was about 60% of people in the stand. Right? It was a gorgeous Friday night. And I get it if you can't be there at 6. That's tough, right? Traffic in Lafayette is not easy at, 5 or 6 p.m. So if you don't get to the game until 6 or 7, okay. But they announced, I think, Saturday, 3,500. There weren't 3,500 fans there. They may have announced that for Sunday. Who's buying these tickets and not coming? That's the other thing. Right? The Cajuns are won 7 in a row. 6 on at Saturday, 5 heading into Friday. Who's not coming to the games? Is that Bob Marlin's fault too? So football's the same way, right? Football, Napier's final year, like the second year, 2021, right? 20 was COVID, 2021 was the year after, but the stadium didn't even sell out the Sun Belt Conference championship game. It had a good crowd. It just was not 40,000 worth, right? So there was an issue with the Cajuns drawing, and some people want to put it on Bob Marlin for that. Bob's never been Mr. Rah-Rah guy. He's never been Mr. Exciting. He's low-key. The one thing that always, piqued my... I perked up at is when the players came off the court after a mistake, he rarely yelled at them. He rarely yells at the officials, maybe later on in the season when the pressure gets going, but you could see him standing there and trying to get his team to victory. So, it was put out there that he was playing footsie with Rice, and the SMU coach ended up getting the Rice gig, and that Bob hadn't signed his extension. I would tell you, a very close source told me he signed his extension. So, I don't know why. That's the thing. He's got a 3-year contract. Why do we think he's going anywhere? He's not. All right. Now, things change. For whatever reason, things change. But I would be shocked if Bob Marlin is going anywhere. He ain't. People need to get past that. Right? I've never seen a fan base turn on a winning coach like this, right? Like, boy, it had been a minute since, baseball had done anything before I got here in 14. And certainly it had been a minute since, they had done anything since about 16, I think. Since right before they built the stadium, right? But, people love Tony Robichaux. They're not as infatuated with Bob Marlin, right? I mean, the Cajuns baseball program has been, milking 2000 for the better part of 20 years, okay? Haven't been to a super regional since 14. Deggs does have a championship, okay? Did make a nice run last year. Off to a really good start this season. It's a lot, not quite closer to the end than to the beginning, right? We're a month and a half in. We got 2 months left, a little bit less, to the regular season. And so we'll see. We'll get a good idea of where this team stands. Although he does have an odd attitude, right? Don't get swept on the road. Is that a thing? We're trying to win 1 out of 3 on the road. That's interesting, right? I understand playing 500 on the road. Don't get swept on the road is a different kind of mantra. So we'll see. So I don't think that Bob Marlin is going anywhere. So suffice to say, things change. If he is, it's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen real soon. I was thinking if it was going to happen, it would already have happened. Have happened? People are out there clamoring for it, but it's not going to happen. All right, Dave Schultz, Schultzycast, episode number 2. Still working out the kinks, but I think we're off to a better start today than we were yesterday. It's no Washington Post article yet. I know Moscona went off on it because of the political leanings. That seems like a big article just to do that. I don't know. We're making a big stink about her political leanings. I don't know. That seems a 2-year dive into her political leanings. That seems like a lot. Glenn Guilbeau of Outkick did speak with Kent Babb, and he said, yes, I've been working on this, and yes, it's coming, but it has not happened yet. Let's see, do we have the most top stories? No, it's not anymore. All right, so let me see, it's on the front page of the Washington Post, because yesterday unfortunately, sadly, we have a tragedy in that area. In Baltimore, a ship ran into a bridge, literally, and the Key Bridge collapsed. This was either late last night or early this morning. Fire officials say they're searching for at least 7 people to believe to be in the water. So a true tragedy that, whatever comes out with, Kim Mulkey is nothing going to be like this. Also, major story, P. Diddy's homes raided in L.A. and Miami. Yeesh. That's quite the story. All right, so no story yet for Washington Post and Kim Mulkey. We will keep an eye out on that. Again, it doesn't feel like Kent Babb is the clickbaity kind of writer that Mulkey says so. And oh man, so you don't have to subscribe if you go to the Washington Post. You can see the Key Bridge collapsing after being struck. They found video of this. Oh man. Oh God, that's awful. All right. Yeah. So whatever comes out with Kim Mulkey is not going to be nearly as tragic as this thing. All right. It is a Schultzycast. Hey, you guys did a great job subscribing yesterday. Please continue to subscribe. I literally had 10 subscribers yesterday. We're close to 50. Was it 56? Did I see? I'm not even sure if my nephew did it yet. Let's see what we are at. Boy, to be at 100 at the end of the week would be tremendous. 62. So that's outstanding. So thank you so much. I didn't even put it on Facebook yesterday. Having issues with my digital life. My bank account got corrupted. My Venmo got corrupted. So we're trying to be a little careful these days with our social media and everything that we do. Okay. Let's see what else we got. What else did I put out there? All right, NFL draft chat. We got some NFL draft chat. So, I mean, it is amazing that did Tom Pelissero say they're at the owners' meetings, and are they talking that J.J. McCarthy could go second? Is that what's really happening? Is someone going to talk themselves into J.J. McCarthy going second? And you can't. I saw the game, the one game before the playoffs, and I'm actually a Michigan fan. Been a Michigan fan for a long time, like before Harbaugh played there. We're talking like Rick Leach played there. Rick Leach played quarterback at Michigan and like played for Syracuse baseball. Not the college. College doesn't have a baseball team, but the minor league team. Like Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge was playing for BYU and playing pro ball for the Syracuse Chiefs while I was growing up. Jamie Morris, Joe Morris's brother, went to Michigan. So I'm a longtime Michigan fan. So now we're looking. So I watched there you go. There we go. I watched the Penn State game where he threw one pass in the second half. One. And they got a pass interference call on it, but the pass was a brutal pass. The pass was to the wrong side. I think it was, it should have been one way, and the tight end had to turn around the other way, and they called pass interference on the defense. Admittedly, and this was during Harbaugh's suspension, admittedly, J.J. McCarthy's doing what the coach is asking for, right? He's not lighting up the scoreboard. Penn State couldn't score against Michigan's defense in that game. We're going to run the ball until, Penn State can't stop us. And that's what they did. He was efficient in the game against Washington. I think that was, and Alabama, right? He led them on a game-winning drive against Alabama. But boy, if the Patriots, for those who don't know, I'm a Patriots fan. If the Patriots have their choice between Jaden Daniels and Drake May, bring it on. I want Jaden Daniels. I'll be honest. There's something not right about Drake May. He's got all the tools. He feels like he's this year's Zach Wilson. But it is. I love the draft talk. You don't know what's real. You don't know what's fake. It feels like the Bears are taking Caleb Williams. Yesterday, Gerard Mayo, the new Patriots head coach, said we're open for business. I know we need a quarterback, but if someone is going to wow us, and so let me tell you my thoughts on NFL trades. Right, when you swap first-round draft picks, that does not include, to me, that does not mean you're getting a first-round draft pick. Okay, you have a first-round draft pick. If you move down from 3 to 9, you're not gaining anything there. What else are you getting? Well, now you get 2 more first-round draft picks the next 2 years. Or maybe someone's got 2 first-round draft picks this year, so you get another one this year. You're only still getting just the 1 first-round draft pick, and then a second or third, right? Whatever it may be, right? I don't count the draft pick that you're swapping. That does not count. I'm not improving myself because I'm dropping from 3 to 9. What else am I getting? The minimal I'm getting is that first-round pick. That does not count as far as I'm concerned. If it's 2 more first-round picks, then that's what counts. Everybody looks like the Vikings want to move up. We'll see what the Cardinals do. The Cardinals said that they were open for business, right? How far do they want to move down? Do the Giants move up to get a quarterback? Where does Marvin Harrison go? Where does Malik Neighbors go? All right, it's going to be quarterbacks and wide receivers up top. I know the guys. I know the guys at the wide receivers are really good, right? Wherever we are, Malik Neighbors, Dunze, Marvin Harrison Jr., Brian Thomas. I am one that a lot of these guys are a dime a dozen. Okay? Puka kind of proves that. And just be careful. I know there is something with the Jordan Jeffersons and the Jamar Chases. You know, they're outstanding, both first-round picks, right? But you can find wide receivers. That's what I think. That's my 2 cents. We'll see what happens in the NFL draft. I love it though. It is fascinating how this script may change. We'll see who's picking 1, 2, or 3. Right, it does feel like Caleb Williams is picking there and is going 1 to the Bears. We'll see what Washington wants to do and what the Patriots want to do. I'm going to be really upset if the Patriots don't take a quarterback. All right. I'd rather have Jaden Daniels. I don't necessarily want J.J. McCarthy. If I'm stuck with Drake May, let's build around the kid. And I'm going to be one offensively. The Patriots are a mess. Offensive line, running backs, wide receivers. All right. Defensively, they're not. Defensively, if they had Matthew Judon and Christian Gonzalez for most of the season, I think they were both hurt in the Saints game. Or maybe the game before the Saints game. But they were both hurt in the same game. If they played, the Patriots would have won 6 or 7 games this past year. They're not quite as bad as everybody thinks they are. Now you're playing with a rookie quarterback. You got to shore up the line. You need some wide receivers. Again, I don't think they are, Super Bowl contenders. But watch them win more than people think. I think the over-under is 4.5 right now. Watch them win more than that. All right. And if Jacoby Brissett plays a half a season and then Jaden Daniels comes in and Drake May, watch them win more than people think. I would take the over on that. I would take the over because the defense is still really good, or else we're going to find out how good a coach that Bill Belichick really was if he was, using masking tape and scotch tape to keep that team together. No. But we'll certainly keep up with the NFL draft. The Saints, I don't know what they're going to do. Offensive line, probably not wide receiver because you can get those. It's a very deep wide receiver. If you can get an offensive lineman, you may have to go with that. I mean, my favorite player in this draft is Brock Bowers. I mean, I just think he's a huge mismatch. He's much faster than the linebackers. He's much bigger than the safeties. Good luck covering him in the NFL. I know he's coming off an injury. I love me some Brock Bowers. If the Saints can get Brock Bowers, you got to take Brock Bowers. If he's sitting there at 14, you got to take some Brock Bowers. All right, NBA on a Tuesday morning Schultzycast. Pelicans getting the Thunder tonight. Big ball game. I don't know what happened last night. Let me check out what anything happened last night in the NBA. We do have some NBA news. That's for sure. Let me see. I don't know if there are any scores. Well, the Celtics blew a big lead, didn't they? The Celtics were crushing the Hawks and lost 120 to 118. Doesn't feel like any. The Rockets won. They're hot. The Suns lost. That's big. And the Mavericks won. Kings won. Clippers lost. Whoa. So the Pelicans are actually in 4th place. My goodness. The Pelicans are in 4th place in the Western Conference. Technically above the Clippers, who are in 5th. The Kings are 2 back in 6th. The Mavericks are 2 back in 7th. The Suns have now fallen 2.5 back. So these games get very big. The Pelicans are 5 games behind the T-Wolves. That's really impossible to make up. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure the Timberwolves are going to lose 5 ball games the rest of the way. Right? I mean, yeah. So that's a tough makeup. But boy, if you can get this homestand off to a really good start, and start it off, and maybe you can go 4-2, and now then maybe beating the Bucks and the Celtics don't seem to be so insurmountable, right? They have not played well against the better teams at home. So we shall see. Not out of the realm of possibility that they lose the next 3 or 4 ball games. It'd be nice if they won 2 of those 3 or 4. And again, go 4-2 on this homestand, and they will be in good shape for the playoffs, all right? And, boy, being in that 4 seed, again, I don't think the bottom's going to fall out of the T-Wolves. There's not enough games left. But this is a big ball game tonight to solidify that 4th spot, because I'm going to guess the Clippers do not play tonight. No, the Clippers play tomorrow. They're at the Sixers. So the Clippers don't have that. They're at the Sixers, Magic, Hornets. They're at the Kings. They do get the Nuggets. They play the Suns twice. Jazz, Rockets. They get the Cavs. A little bit easy, but all of a sudden they've lost 2 in a row. They lost to the Sixers, and they lost to the Pacers. Got blown out by the Pacers, 113-116. So, I'm sorry, 133-116. But the big news in the NBA, and I'll be the first to admit, I did not know who this gentleman was. But we got a betting situation. Jontay Porter. Toronto Raptors forward Jontay Porter is under investigation by the NBA following multiple instances of betting betting issues over the past several months. Multiple sources told ESPN on Monday. At issue are prop bets involving Porter from games on January 26th and March 20th. Multiple sources told ESPN. An NBA spokesman told ESPN the league is looking into it. In the game, I'm just reading from ESPN.com. In the game on January 26th against the Clippers, there was an increased betting interest on the under for Porter props. Who's betting on Jontay Porter props? Which for the night were set around 5.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 1.5 assists. There was also an over-under for Porter's made 3-pointers, which was 0.5. So the over-under is 1, basically. That evening, Porter played just 4 minutes before leaving the game because of what the Raptors said was an aggravation of an eye injury he had suffered 4 days earlier against the Grizzlies. Porter did not score against the Clippers, but had 3 rebounds, 1 assist. He did not attempt a 3, meaning he hit on all of the props. Okay. We'll get to the other one here in a second. But this is like, who's betting on an Alabama-LSU baseball game and throwing $100,000 on it? It's one thing if you bet $50 or $100, but if you're throwing 5 or 6 figures on this random Friday night game, bells are going off. And that's what happened. And the head coach of Alabama was in on it. And he got fired. So if there's more than like 3 people betting on the Jontay Porter props bet, all of a sudden we got 25 people or 50 people or even maybe 10 people betting on this, bells are going to go off. All right, the next day as part of a daily report to users on betting results, DraftKings Sportsbook stated that the under on Porter's 3-pointers was the biggest money winner for bettors of any NBA props from the games that evening. So DraftKings is just doing their recap, and how about this? On March 20th against the Sacramento Kings, Porter played just 3 minutes before exiting because of what the Raptors said was an illness and did not return. He did not score after attempting 1 shot and 2 rebounds. All right, so he has to get in the game. I guess he starts. Sportsbooks had set his over-under around 7.5 points and 5.5 rebounds. The next day, DraftKings reported in the media release that Porter's prop bets were the number 1 moneymaker from the night in the NBA. So to keep on calling them Sports Kings, DraftKings isn't doing some sort of, breaking news story. We're just recapping how much people won from the night, and it's kind of like the roulette wheel. It keeps on hitting 20 or something like that. Or it's black, right? So many times in a row. At least one other U.S. sportsbook detected unusual betting interest on the Porter props in the games in question. A sportsbook industry told ESPN that multiple betting accounts attempted to bet large amounts of upward of $10,000 and $20,000 on Porter unders in January against the Clippers. Betting limits on NBA player props vary by sportsbook and customers, but are typically around $1,000 to $2,000. I mean, you're just asking for trouble. People were trying to do whatever they could to bet on Jontay Porter props against the Clippers, source said. And then just a few days ago, the same thing. We had a bunch of people trying to bet under for more. I mean, my goodness. Porter is the brother of Denver Nuggets Michael Porter Jr., who is on a two-way contract. No, Michael Porter Jr. isn't, but Jontay Porter is on a two-way contract with the Raptors, earning $415,000 this season. Jontay Porter is going to find out how much that $415,000 really is, because if he is in on this, and it would appear that he is, he's never going to get any kind of job close to that money again. He missed the Raptors game on Saturday against the Wizards for personal reasons, according to the team. He was also out for Monday's loss to the Brooklyn Nets for personal reasons. Raptors coach Darko said he became aware of the investigation shortly before Monday night's game. All right. I never doubt injuries. I never doubt honesty from players, the coach said. Obviously, I've never had a situation like this before. This is crazy. It's interesting that the NBA caught it rather easily, I guess, although it did take 2 times. I guess that's the thing, right? The first time, it could be just a coincidence, not twice. Especially when, player prop bets, as you heard, are usually 1 to 2,000, and someone's placing 10 to 20,000. Come on. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We got Cajuns tonight taking on Grambling. Hopefully the weather clears. I haven't even looked outside. We did get a lot of rain yesterday. Looking forward to that ball game, and then a big series against Texas State this weekend. So that'll be big. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm going to confuse it with myself, but it is doing 2 shows, and I got the Sunbelt thing. Maybe I needed a Schultzycast logo back there for this show. But thanks for tuning into Schultzycast episode 2. We'll do this every morning at 6, or not every morning, but Monday through Friday, 6:55. Acadiana's only local sports talk show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great day, everybody.